What's up, y'all? This is a video that I've been really procrastinating to make because, all honesty, it's not a for sure way of like how you can get to Japan. I really took a risk. I really took a risk. Please understand me when I say that. That's just a disclaimer. Now let's actually get into the video. This is how I made it to Japan at 18, living alone, living by myself, solo traveling, starting my solo traveling journey. The first thing that you are going to want to do is your research. I know they said it in every single video, but honey, it is important. Do your research, figure out, what part you want to live in, or just anything along the lines of that. The best tips I can really give for that would be things like figuring out if you need a visa, things like figuring out how long you can stay here without a visa, things like if you're going to school here, if you're not, things like learn a little bit of that language. It'll come in handy. I'm not saying you necessarily need it out here, because you can make your way. You can definitely get around without knowing the language. Please understand me when I say that. It helps if you know a little something, especially in like stores and stuff, because they be talking fast. So you got to know how to get with the program or have that translation app ready. Please understand me. Get those things out the way first. Figure out your planning / prepping, which all goes into the research. So I'd say figure out things like ideas of how you would want accommodations, like where to live, all that good stuff, and I'm gonna give my tips. Actually, I'll give them now. So I recommend a share house or something along the lines of where I live, where you have your own personal room and you simply you share like the common areas like the living room, the kitchen, and things like that, and you won't really be bothered by anybody, and it's kind of like you have your own apartment. So hey, I would also recommend like Airbnbs, even though they're a bit more on the expensive side considering, but they're definitely not more expensive than the US. And even then, if you think about just getting a regular old apartment like to yourself fully, I think you might need a little bit more documentation along the lines of that. What I recommend for that is literally do your research on the apartments. If you plan to live in an apartment, figure out what documentations you need. You can email the people. I know you can call them if you have like an international line and all that good stuff. So just figure out your plan, sort of figure out why you want to come here and what you necessarily are going to do here. That's first. Secondly, figure out how much your trip is actually going to cost. Start prepping and planning your trip cost. Now, I'm going to say right now that I spent majority of my time in the US prepping for when I came down here. So basically what I did was, after I figured out that I wanted to move to Japan, the question is, how am I going to get an income down there? And my second question is, if I'm leaving America for sure, where am I going to live? So the first things that I did was I went to Airbnb, I searched online, I searched these websites. A good one I can give is this one. I spent $600 for a month in this one, and then I spent like probably $500 in the next one that I'm moving to in Kyoto. So that right there gives you a range about like $1,100 already. So already have some type of money saved or put to the side. I'm not saying you need to have a whole lot, but have something. Please, you do your research. Now you're starting to put your plan into action, honey. Now I'm going to say now, a good way to get income if you live in the US, I'm gonna shout them out, even though they did, like, when I say they're gonna work you, honey, they're gonna work you. I'm gonna recommend Amazon. I'm going to recommend a milk factory, or I think it's a milk warehouse or something like that. Something that'll pay you good money. Like, go to a warehouse job, go to something like that that'll really get you somewhere. And if you're in college, honey, study abroad. Like, there's multiple ways you can get to here just off like living your regular life, if that makes sense. Use your job money to save up and get yourself some type of money put to the side, or even as you get your checks, you can start slowly buying stuff, or just spend a whole check on where you want to live during this month, a whole check on your flight, a whole check on da 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 da. So that's what happened for me. I started working at Amazon. I'm lying to y'all. I worked at Olive Garden and then I worked at Amazon. I worked them both for maybe like 2 weeks, and then I said enough of that. Enough of that. Then I just worked at Amazon. Amazon was good for like a few months. I think I worked there maybe 4 or 5 months, and then after that it was time to go. So after I started to work at Amazon, I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere savings wise. Not savings wise necessarily, because I was saving up, but it just seemed like I was never reaching that $4,000, $5,000, $100 goal, especially at 18. And I was just getting tired of Amazon, honey. They was wearing me down. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do? I booked my flight. That's exactly what I did. I pushed myself. I put myself out there, and I made myself, like, I disciplined myself, like, okay, you have until this date, until your flight, or you wasted $700, because that's how much my flight was. And I know if you want it one way and two way, just in case you don't, if you don't necessarily feel like staying too long and you want to leave, I recommend putting around 14, yeah, about 1,400, and which is bam, that's your flight. Bam, that is your cost for accommodations here. You want to save up for, so total, I would say have 3 bands in the hole. Have about 3 bands. And I'm not saying just try to wait until you have exactly 3 bands in your savings. Start doing it slowly. Like I said, book your accommodations, have it set for maybe, or at least have that money put to the side and never touch it. Never touch it. Then bam, book your flight, or have that money put aside and never touch it. Never touch it. I had a specific savings account for this stuff, and I never touched that money. I never touched that money. But like I said, I still wasn't accumulating that goal point, so I ended up, just pushing myself to book my flight early and gave it a date. I put a date on it. So put a date on when you want to do these things. Write your stuff down. Write your plan. And understand everything is not going to go officially to the T of how your plan is planned. Like, that's unrealistic. So that being said, this is the prepping and planning part, y'all. Stay with me, please. It gets better. I know talking about the money part is a bit scary, especially as I grow. What am I gonna do? I have a plan for y'all, for real. Because if we're already talking about 3 bands and that's just you getting here, what money are you gonna have when you actually get here? That's the question, right? I'm gonna tell you now. I saved me up maybe, okay, so I did this over time. Like I said, I did not have, you feel me, I was not up to tutor with bands, baby. I promise you I won't. So what I would do is I would take a check. My check will probably be around $500 or something like that, working at Amazon. So here's what I would do. I would take maybe $300 of that check, put it in the savings. That $200, because I was still Ubering, baby, and I was going left and right. So and even then I was still spending money because I was a smoker and all this extra stuff that just didn't need to take up my money. So yeah, luckily I did not have no bills. I was staying with my auntie, so I just kind of did what I was doing. Oh yeah, slowly as the time was saving up, I would save up enough money for the Airbnb. I would save up enough money for the share house. I would save up enough money for the flight. This is going to be an overtime thing. Please understand, you're not going to be here in 2 weeks unless you got it like that, baby. Hey, don't let me hold you back, honey. I'm just going to be realistic with y'all. It's going to take a little bit of time, especially if you like coming out the gutter. So take it slow. Take it day by day. Do not get overwhelmed by the research you see or by the prices. It's all going to come together slowly. You have to just add it on. Now, I ended up having maybe like a band in the savings left to like actually come here with. So I was like, excuse me. So I was like, dang, how am I going to actually support myself when I get there? Like, I still, like, yes, I have this, but what good is that? So I ended up doing more research, finding out that they have remote jobs out there that'll let you work anywhere, at any place. So that's what I did. You need Wi-Fi. You literally need Wi-Fi and a laptop. That's all you need, honey. And even some of them don't even, like, you don't even need a laptop. You could just use your iPad, because I know they have Facebook monitors. I know they have chat monitors. The company that I recommend would be NextRep. They're dope. Beyond that, I was also looking for jobs that was just going to be quick, easy hire, because like I said, this was when I planned and prepped this trip. When I tell you, I gave myself 2 months. I gave myself 2 months to get out of America. So bam, I was really on that. I was like, okay, what's a job that's not going to sit up here and take all day? What's a job that's going to allow me to be in and out of places? And that's exactly what I found. Also, hence this YouTube, you can start a YouTube channel. You could do literally anything. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Please do not be scared to, like, I know traveling abroad is scary. And I know when I used to watch videos like this, I'm like, girl, it's not scary. I want to go. I want to leave. Like, what is you talking about? But honey, it's different once like realization hit, like, I'm really gonna be in a different country, 7,000 miles away from everybody that I know and everything that I do know. But you just gotta take that chance. Please hear me. You just it's nothing that's gonna stop you, honey, because you already have it set in your mind, you already have it set in your head. So don't let anybody get into your head thinking that you can't do it, or that you don't have enough money, or that this and the third, that you're gonna get stranded. None of that. Silence. I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. Hope for the best. It'll work out for the best. Pray to God. It'll happen, honey. It'll happen. I forgot to tell y'all the most important part. Please have your passport. I don't know how I forgot that. That should have been the first. So let me talk about documentations real quick. Passports. You're gonna need one. I don't care where you are. You need a passport, honey. You should have been, as soon as you realized you wanted to study or move abroad or anything like that, you still wanted to start traveling, you should have got a passport. I'm disappointed if you don't have one. I'm disappointed if you ain't thought about it yet. Get it. You need that of all things. And if not, what's really harm with having a passport? What's the worst that could happen? What you getting a passport? Please help me understand. I even had to get mine expedited, because at first I was going to travel here. I was going to study abroad using the MEX scholarship. I was going to travel and study in I forget the name of the college now, but there was a college that I applied to and I got accepted. But what they don't tell you is when you plan to study abroad and things like that, you need 20 bands in your account. Like I said, I don't have money up to the rooter. Baby, look, no. And they were like, oh yeah, you need it by this date along with your passport, and we'll supply your visa. That's if you want to stay long term, as in like years. I'm staying for a few months because I couldn't study here, and it was just like, girl, I won't pay in that. I just won't pay in that. I'm sorry. You want to just start with a remote job, if that's something you plan to do. If you want to go to college, girl, go apply, get that thing working, figure out something with that financial aid and all that good stuff. But baby, it just it made me want a cigarette too bad, baby. No. Next thing I knew, my flight date was booked for a couple days later. Now, my only issue was I lived in Virginia, and I booked my flight from New York. I ended up having to take the Greyhound from Virginia to New York, and then from New York, LaGuardia. I already know my adopted mom. She's like rolling right now because I can't pronounce the name of this airport. LaGuardia. There it is. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all. Okay, so let me put it in order. Booked my flight, booked my stays, had the money left over for when I was actually going to get here. Bam, I was still working. Please understand me. I was still going to Amazon, like literally up until my last couple days here. Literally until the last day before my trip, I was working. So, I was still getting paid, necessarily, is what I'm trying to tell y'all. I booked my flight, I booked my accommodations, then I had the money saved over for what I was going to use when I was actually here. And then I booked my bus, and some of y'all don't even have to do the bus thing. If y'all have a flight from y'all hometown that'll be cheaper, do that. I booked the cheapest flight I could find, and the cheapest one I could find was in New York, baby. So I went to New York. After I did that, I basically was all set. So I started to actually prep and plan for my trip. As in, retwisted the hair, baby. I did free of charge, thanks to me. Got my eyebrows did free of charge, thanks to me. Did me a little skincare, face mask. Like, you don't want to be stressed, honey. You don't want to go there just not to be able to enjoy yourself and not being able to relax. So just take a breather, take a day, just give yourself that calmness of mind. I took a day to relax, hang out with friends, hang out with family. I wanted to see a couple more people before I left, but it just got ahead of me, and it just got ahead of me. So I said my final goodbyes. And I didn't really tell too many people I was leaving. I didn't tell too many people I was leaving because you don't want everybody knowing your business. Please understand me. Don't keep telling everybody where you're going and what you're doing and this, that, and the third. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. And don't tell everybody what you got going on and what you're doing. Just don't. It's just better for you. That's the advice I can give you, honey. Even though it's gonna get out eventually because people run their mouth. People run their mouth. I'm talking about people, girl, just people that I don't even talk to know. And it's just like, oh, how you know? How you know? How did you find out? It just be like that. So it's just like, okay. That's how I pretty much made it to Japan. I hope I can give a more in-depth, better video of telling y'all how I actually made it here. Long story short, I just worked and worked and worked until I made it here. But I know that there are other routes that you can take because I was meant to take them until I realized I was 18 and had free will and I could just go without waiting on anything, waiting for anyone. So I just went. And I'm living the best life. I love it here. I do. I can't wait to travel to the Philippines. That's where I'm headed next. Just calm down. Take it day by day. Do not get overwhelmed. I know you're probably already in the research stage by you watching this video. Or maybe you're just curious. You're just looking into it, baby. Book the flight. Get your accommodations going and start making your plans. Really, like, real deal. Start making your plans and book your flight. And then after you book your flight, you can really work hard and be like, okay, I got till this day to make something shake. This is not a foolproof plan. Please understand me. I took multiple risks coming here by myself at that. Let alone at just 18, baby. I can't even drink. So, and stop listening to advice from people who have never traveled out the country, who have never done what you are trying to do. Please don't listen to them type of folks. Please. They couldn't do it. How could they know what you can do? Please understand me. If they did not do it, if they could not do it, how could they tell you how you could or couldn't do it? Please explain that to me. So, unless they did it and got some for sure advice for you, or you know someone who you know can give you real deal raw advice. Luckily, I had a few people in my life, shout you out, who could give me the real and the raw. But don't listen to the nitty and gritty of everybody who's pushing their insecurities and their fears on you. Oh, but do you have enough money for this? Or why are you going down? Or this, that, and the third. Don't you think you should? Don't you think you should? I think you should shut up. Is what I think, all honesty. Yes, that's basically how I made it here. Long story short, start with your documentation and your research. Research. Figure out what documents you need. Get your documents accumulated. Bam. Get you a nice working job, or at least a nice paying job. Or go to college so that can be your route too. And then that's how you can afford it. Bam. Then after you do all that good stuff, you start making your rounds. You start booking your flight, booking your accommodations while you're in your hometown. That is when you start booking your stuff. Please understand me. It's not that hard. I know it's like, girl, how am I going to book something I can't see? You look at the pictures and you hope for the best. Look for the pictures and you hope for the best. Read the reviews. Go to Reddit. Okay? That's how you do it. And you just pray. That's what I did. That's why I say this isn't a foolproof plan, honey. It's risky. You have to be a risky girl, though. You have to be risky. You have to take risk in life, or what is the point of it? You're not even happy. You're not even happy where you at. So, what's the worst that could happen? That was my whole thing. I was not happy where I was living. I did not like it. I did not like America. It just wasn't for me. And so I moved. Just not happy where you at. You just not feeling it. You always overstimulated. It's feeling like too much. The stress is getting to you, honey. Just take a breather. Please understand. Just take a breather. It's really not that deep. I promise. I promise. Just woosah. You get you a suitcase, honey. I forgot about that. I had to get a suitcase last minute because I forgot about it. And start packing ahead of time. Don't overpack. If you're staying for years, okay. Okay. But if you're staying for 2 months, don't do what I did. Please don't overpack like I did. My suitcase was 100 pounds. Or 77 kg. Something like that. Not fun. I would just say that. Not fun. And I don't even wear half the clothes I brought. I said, are you serious? I hope this video encouraged you. I hope this video gave you some tips or some insight on what you could possibly do to get here. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It seems a little difficult when you're in your research stage and when you know. But if you take it day by day and you literally just like, you give yourself time to do it, it's really not that overwhelming. It's not that hard. And stop doing drugs if you want to sit here and actually get somewhere. Please understand me. This is coming from I used to be a heavy smoker. I was low-key fiend. I can admit it. I was low-key, like, I was a heavy smoker. And it started to eat into my pockets, honey. Don't become one of them. I know you think, oh, it's just $20. Oh, it's just $40. That $60 that you're putting away for that gas, you could have already been on your flight, baby. Bump the gas. Bump the gas. You got to figure out what you want. That is the end of this video. That's really all I have. I really hope I gave y'all some tips. I really hope I gave y'all some help. Maybe I'll go back and give a more in-depth video if you guys wanted more information on necessarily what I did when I got here, how that process was. And you know something I was actually really stressed about but no one talked about in the videos? Airports. Because I was stressed. I was like, I really hope I don't get confused. Please don't stress about the airport. Don't stress about the airport. There's literally signs everywhere. And even if you seem lost, I promise you won't be lost for long, hun. Like, I was petrified of having a horror story at the airport. But it went smoothly. Like, you literally, okay, let me give you the rundown because no one gave it to me and I was worried and I was stressed. Bam, you get to the airport, you go in, you go to your kind of boarding area of where you booked your flight. So they'll have, like in New York, what it was they would have station 1 boarding for I don't know, what's the flight company, y'all? Air Canada at station 1, and then they would have a boarding for station 2, and station 2 would be for, I don't know, girl, I don't know any flight companies. We're gonna call it flight 2, station flight 2, okay? And then we got flight 3, station 3. Girl, I don't know, I'm coming up with stuff. Went through my boarding pass. I got my boarding ticket. I did that on my phone though, and then I just had to print it out. Bam, got my boarding pass, all that good stuff. Walked through TSA, and that wasn't hard. Like, you literally just you put your suitcase on the thing and bam, bam, bam. You walk through, you don't even get your suitcase back, which is a good thing for me because, like I said, 77 kgs. Please, honey, I don't want it back. So I didn't get my suitcase back, but I still have my carry-on. Bam, had my carry-on, my boarding pass, my tickets, all that good stuff within my passport. Keep that on you, honey. And I'm talking, do not lose that stuff. Like, don't, clutched in my hand. I'm talking, I was not letting it go, honey. Just, you want to prevent anything extra from happening while you're in this place. Bam, you go through, you find your gate. When you're finding your gate, that's really not that hard. They got mad restaurants everywhere, so don't get overwhelmed. But You'll eventually find your gate, and then once you find your gate, you literally board it. That no one told me it was that simple at the airport. It's literally that simple at the airport. I was so stressed. I was so worried. I had to call. I literally had to call people. I was like, yo, what do I do at the airport? So just be calm. Please stop overthinking. Don't stress it. Don't worry it too hard and heavy. And from there, this is the end of the video, because I've given you all the tips you need, honey. And the fact that you're watching this video shows that you're getting somewhere, because you're in the research stage. This is something you clearly want to do, so do it. Don't be scared, honey. Don't be scared. What is the worst that can happen? Exactly. Especially for someone, you know, on the caliber of like 18, 19, 20 to like 25. Girl, don't be scared. Do what you want to do with your life, especially while you're young, honey. Especially while you're young. You don't got no kids, you ain't got no bills. And even if you do have kids. Even if you do have kids, girl, so what? Live it up. Live it up, honey. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it gave y'all some words of encouragement. I really hope it gave y'all some insight on how to get to Japan, or how to travel at all anyways in the first place, because planning a trip can be stressful. I didn't know how stressful planning was until I'm like, girl, I started to consider a cigarette. I had quit smoking too, y'all, so I was like, oh no, this is too much. This is too much. But you'll get through it. The stress is really not, like, just calm down. And that's all I have for y'all. Tune in next time. Comment on what other videos y'all want. Any questionnaires, any questions, I'll answer. And that's all I have for y'all. I'm here every Sunday and Wednesday giving my vlogs. Tune in on those too. Thank you. Thank you. Gotta give y'all props. Anyways, skadoosh.